The screen we are on now is the Nimbus dashboard. For those of you who have not yet logged on, the dashboard is the screen that you will be taken to whenever you log on to Nimbus. In order to do a quotation, you'll hover over the quotations button and click Add a new quote. This will take you to the screen where you'll be able to select the product that you want to quote your client on. Product selection is where your underwriting criteria or your product overview will come in handy, as you'll need to select the correct product the first time round. You're going to hover over the client's product that you want to put the client onto and tick the box next to it. You're then going to select the next button at the top or at the bottom. At this stage, we are going to capture the client details, and this will be the details for the policyholder. However, in accordance with Poppy, we only need to get the details in order to generate a quotation. So we're going to click Next to pull through the mandatory fields, which in this case are marked in red. So first we're going to capture the client's name. You can either manually click to the next field or you can use the tab button and capture their surname. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to capture the ID number. Once you click the ID number, if it is correct, most of the red fields here will disappear. However, if it is incorrect, this error will pop up. You simply click OK and ask the client to reconfirm. We're then going to move on to the contact details. It is crucial at this point that you capture the client's details correctly, as we do not repeat this session in the process again. So you must, just repeating quickly, make sure that it is the client's details and that you capture them correctly. We do not repeat this later in the process. So what we've got here are the phone number, mobile number, and email address. The phone number will be their primary contact number, such as a cell phone number, and the phone number will be their secondary number, such as a landline or a work number. So with the contact numbers, in the smaller block, you'll capture the first 3 digits. And then the bigger block will capture this last 7. And you'll do this for both contact numbers. The reason we do it this way is so that when it comes to us sending a client an SMS to advise of their pro rata, the client does actually get the necessary SMS. Then moving on to the email address. Again, it is crucial that it is the client's details. So we're just going to be using our training team's email address for this activity, brokerbuddy.co.za, and there we go. Now, it is very important as client's email address, it mustn't be your email address or your company's email address, and it mustn't be those of a family member or a colleague of the client. It must be the client's email address. Now, at this point, you might be asking, but what if the client does not have an email address? That is fine. Then to make sure that the system does allow you to proceed, you're just going to put in none@none.co.za, but that is only if the client does not have their email address. Otherwise, you need to make sure that you enter the client's email address. We will explain in a little bit as to why this is so important. Once you've captured all the details, you're going to click Next again. Next, we're going to capture the client's physical or the risk address where the vehicle will be parked most of the time overnight. So we'll put in the house number, then the street name, and I'm going to skip town and city and go straight onto postal code. You can just put in the postal code. However, if you do, you will find every area under that postal code. You're going to be scrolling for a very long time. We don't want to waste your time like that. So just as a bit of a quick way to do it, you can just type in the city or the town in the postal code, and then it'll give you the city and the postal code. Nice bit of a quick loophole that you can use there. Just a nice quick shortcut there. So it's the house number, the street name, and then you type in the city or the town and the postal code block to give you the postal code as well as the town and city. Once that is done, you click Next again. Next, you will be taken to the moral risk questions. However, as this is still during quoting stage, we do not need this in accordance with Poppy, at least not yet. So we're going to click next to pull through to the quote. And here we have our quoting page. So we have our quote number, our client details, and then we also have the product, client details at the top, and then the premium. Now we notice that there is already a premium noted here. Now what we're going to do next is navigate to the cover tab in order to add the item that we want to add on the quote. So we're going to go cover. And here we'll see a list of different add-ons. Now the add-ons are not the same as the value-added products such as excess waivers and car hire. These are different. The Value Buddy Gold product is a mandatory, it is a product that is automatically included, and it is the roadside assistance product that we give our clients. And as we can see here, there's a premium of 120 Rand, and that is why there's already a premium here at the top. Now we see that there are various sub-tabs here. Now these sub-tabs, each sub-tab represents a section that an item may be added under. So we want to add a vehicle. So we are going to do this by navigating to the Motor tab. We're going to click on Add New Item, which will open the window where we can add the vehicle. Similar to the personal details, we only want to capture the details that are going to give us a premium. So once again, we're going to click Calculate Premium to generate the red fields, the mandatory fields. Our first one, basis of settlement. I'm going to select retail value. Our next one is sum insured. I'm trying to click here, but it's not allowing me to. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is M&M code. Same thing, I can't click here. So I'm going to click the select button. This window here, in the search bar, you can either type in the M&M code or you can type in the vehicle description. The year model is not needed at this point. Click search. And it'll give you, if you've used the description, every vehicle under that description. If you use an M&M code, it will be a more specific search. You hover over the vehicle that you want and you click it. Next, we'll capture the year model. We'll use a 2014 year model. And we can see that on the side here, the values have updated. Very important thing to note is that the selected value is the one that has a repeated value, that is the retail value. The reason for this is we selected retail value under basis of settlement. What you need to make sure is that whenever you're doing a quote, when you've refreshed your values, if these are not, you can just click this friendly green button in order to generate a value into selected value. Because the selected value is the box that will pull through to the sum insured amount. Now, if, for example, you have a brand new vehicle, we're currently in 2021, so if you use a 2021 model, you'll only have a new value, with the rest of them being 0. So what you would do in that case is manually type in the value under new value in the selected value box. However, in this case, we do have a value. Here we go. And you click select. This will then pull through the sum insured as well as the vehicle details. We move on to our next red fields, which is NCB. For those of you who possibly do not know or maybe need a refresher in terms of how to calculate an NCB, please let us know in the comments and we'll cover it a little bit later in the session. You'll ask your necessary questions and select the calculation based on the questions. Next, we move on to cover type, which will normally be comprehensive. And then finally is the use. Now, the use on our personal lines products can be private, business, or commercial, depending on what the client uses their vehicle for, which we did cover a little bit earlier in the session. Next, we move on to tracker type, which in this case, as it is a Soteria product, it is going to be driver behavioral tracking unit. Then tracking requirement, what this is asking is, do we require the client to have a tracking unit? And the answer is yes. So you need to make sure that for any product that is not Q-Drive, you select tracker type as driver behavioral tracking unit, and that the tracking requirement is yes. If the client is on a Q-Drive product, as covered a little bit earlier, the client may have any tracking device. Next, we go on to our next red field, but at this stage, we don't have any more. Our last step will be to capture the license details. This will be done under the drivers section. Now we can see that under the license code, the section is blank. So we're going to click on the pencil here. This will open a window very similar to our personal details. I'm going to scroll to the bottom, select the code, and then just type in the date that the client first received their license. The client can get this from their license card. You can use the calendar if the client is a fairly new driver, but otherwise, if the client has had their license for quite some time, typing it in will be easier. So you capture the date, the license code, you capture the first issue date, scroll to the top and click Save. It'll take you back to this window. However, the license code section is still blank. If this is the case, we're just going to quickly repeat this the process to add the license. We scroll to the bottom. Put in the date, scroll to the top and click Save. Now while we return there, the screen has gone slightly hazy. We know now and we can see that the license details have pulled through because this section is no longer blank. There is the license code and there is the date. It is very important to make sure that whenever you add the license details, that section always has the license code. If that code is not added, it means the details did not pull through correctly. Finally, we have the different add-ons. Different companies refer to these differently. We at Broker Buddy refer to them as value-added products or VAPs for short. So if your client would like a VAP, you'll just simply go next, hover over the one that you want. Let's take excess reducer, for example, and tick the box. We'll then scroll back to the top and click Calculate Premium. This will now take the information we've entered to give us a premium. This error here, it's not so much an error but more of a warning. It's always going to pop up on certain products. You just click OK, don't be alarmed, and you'll be able to proceed. Now let's say at this stage you want to see what all makes up this premium here. You click the little drop down box and there you go, you can see what that premium is made up of. Once you're done, you can click Save to go back to where you added the vehicle. There we go, our vehicle has now been added to the quote, and we know this because our total premium at the top has increased. Now you'll notice that there's a difference between the item premium and the total premium. This is because that Value Buddy Gold that we saw earlier has been included here. So whenever you need to advise your client of the premium that they will be paying, you'll need to advise them of the total premium here at the top, because this premium will not only include the vehicle and the Value Buddy Gold, but it'll include the premium for any other items or vehicles that might be added onto the quote. So it is crucial when you advise of the final premium that this is the premium you get. Now let's say at this point that your client has said, okay, that premium is excellent, but what is my excess? We're going to view this by clicking View Quotation. While we wait for the document to open, we do have the excess documents available for you on Azandi, which we will take you through later. But this is the document that we will be sending to the client should they choose to accept. There's our document. We're just going to maximize this and zoom in a little. And this will be the document that will be sent to the client should they choose to accept. Some details on the insurers, some disclosures, a summary of the premiums, and then the vehicles, some more disclosures. And then finally, the different excesses. Now, these are the excesses that you'll advise the client of. These will normally be right underneath the vehicle section, depending on how many vehicles have been added to the quote, but that is where you will get them. We're going to close the quotation button and we're going to go back to the quote page. There we're back on our quote page, and up to that point is how we do a quotation. We select the product, add the client details, add the risk address, add the item, disclose the premium product and the excesses, and then we'll be able to give the client enough information to make an informed decision. And that is how we do a quote.